Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
May all beings everywhere be happy and free.
Awake life is to awake people to the beauty of the present moment, the beauty of who you really are beyond all these layers that programming have laid upon you, the stories that you believe about yourself, that true self that's right beneath all of it. Not a new you, the real you. Is it not? So for me, most of you know my story about how I was a pastor for 14 years, had my own congregation, traveled the world, trying to save everybody with my crusades and healing stuff. Some of you come from the church that everybody have a certain sense of that experience uh, of how we have moved. And when I had my experience and wakened to see life in a different way after my whole appendix story, and being caught up in this love atmosphere and dissolving, realizing I am this love. It's not something outside, it's not something separate from me, it is all me. As soon as I had that experience, it threw a lot of dominoes over. And during that time, when the dominoes starts to tick, 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 one after the other, there was this little bit of thing where I felt I'm losing myself. Okay? And it also creates a thing where I started to feel like, sure, I feel very alone. Maybe you've experienced this in a certain way, maybe different from mine, but also you experience it. So a big question that we have to come and ask ourselves, what do we think we are losing when I refer to I'm losing myself? So it's about my and self that we are afraid we are losing. So can you lose yourself? Did you ever feel at a time you lost yourself? Be honest. You felt it, ne? So there's an experience that we have, but we must come behind what we experience. Are you still here? Are you sitting here today? You're not lost. You're then here. You understand? So we can't lose ourselves. So the experience of losing is experience a loss of identity. And identity is our story that we tell ourselves. So now I lose a certain role. For me, it was to be a pastor. It was for me to be a Christian. It was for me all these things that my whole life was told and programmed that this is the most important thing to hang on. You can let everything else go, but this you cannot. And the conflict that it started on the inside was, I felt everybody, the people that is still on that side telling you, you crazy. Okay, you went off, you must go to get medicine. Maybe there's a tumor or something going on, There's something wrong with you. Maybe it was not the appendix that was the big problem. There's something else wrong with you. You have to go to people to help you. And you went through something, you can't go back. There where we start to feel loss, it's not that we're losing ourselves, we lose a sense of our identity, ego, in a certain sense. That what we thought, the story that we tell ourselves of who we are. Okay, so I told myself the story for so many years, I'm a pastor. Now I lose that identity, so what am I now? But is the essence still the essence? Can that be changed? And that's where we sometimes lose perspective. Losing perspective of the role that we played and thinking we are that role. And we see it so many times in relationships also. We play a certain role, and when we lose that role, we feel like we lost ourselves. No, you didn't lose yourself. You lost a role, and it's okay. Sometimes by losing that, you discover more about yourself it opens up a new perspective of who you really are without that role. And some people struggle to deal with it because the mind tells them we have to go back because that's the only thing that's important. And we try to convince it. You see, it's something busy dying off who was not you, a role that's dying off that was not you, and it's fighting for survival. You understand? So as soon as we start to realize that, then the whole thing about ourselves, that we lose ourselves, is not a negative thing. Because you cannot lose the true you. We're actually rediscovering it the whole time. And by losing the stories that we tell ourselves, the roles that we play, all these things that we think is our world, is our existence, who I really am, if we start to allow it to dissolve as it goes with certain periods on our journey, then we start to realize a deeper truth, if we allow it. But here's the problem. Because we are losing identity, we like to form a new one very quickly. Then we jump just from one to one, and we didn't give ourselves time to settle into it. And I experienced it in my journey. When we had first, I did some crazy stuff, and I upset my family by stuff that I've done. Okay, because I was trying to find because that's what I felt is not me, that I started to let go of. But there was a need for something still in me, that I want something else because I was programmed. There must be. So now I'm grabbing to other stuff. And sometimes it can be good, but sometimes it's very bad. Sometimes it's part of the journey, but sometimes we make the journey more difficult for ourselves. If we can come to a place as we let go of this roles, these things that is busy going away, fading out of our life, if we let it go and die out and not hang on to it, it makes just the true essence clearer. And then another experience comes. Like I said, we start to feel lonely. I'm the only one that experienced. I was at that stage where I thought like, I was the only one that experienced this. And then I was on the internet and just to realize, hi, Gerhard, shame. You are like 38 years too late. There's so many people that hundreds of years that experience same things as you, and you think it's only you. So this is another thing. We all think that we are going through something, and there's so many other people going through the same thing. And that is why community is important. We are here to support each other during that. You know how difficult was it for me in the beginning? Because you don't know who can you speak to and who you can't speak to. Who's going to look funny at you and who's going to unfriend you? Who's going to phone the other friends trying to make a committee to show up at your house and do an intervention? Okay? You get messages that tell you are sick in your head. You must go and get help, help somewhere. So then you start to feel very lonely. But here's the thing that we need to realize. Can you be alone? What is loneliness? Just let it sink in. What is loneliness? I feel lonely. There's two different things. You can be alone, so you can sit in a room. You're all by yourself. But loneliness doesn't mean you are not between people. Okay? But what's the deeper concept of loneliness? Loneliness can only exist as long as I am I and them. You hear what I'm saying? If there's separation, I am lonely, then it's still the story that's fighting for survival. It's still the ego fighting for its own survival, to hold on to certain things, to keep a separate identity from everything. That's why we experience it, and it can be very much emotional experience. It can be intense because there's a conflict happening. We're trying to hold on to our story, to our role, to what, and we feel lonely because we feel we are outside of what we used to. And we don't feel like other people feel who is on that side still with their experience. And we feel like we're disconnected. Disconnected from what? You cannot be disconnected from essence because you are essence. Is it not? So if you are the essence, and you know we are teaching here very much a little bit of oneness, okay? So if we talk about oneness, we talk about dualism have come to an end. There's no you, me, it's the essence, and the essence is expressed through everything. So if everything is the essence, how can we be lonely? So where does loneliness play off? Mind, not in essence. It's only another thing to prove we have not yet take full control over mind. We are still struggling with the story that the mind tries to portray, who we are, what our identity is. And it's fighting for the old program to keep it going because it's used to it. It's comfortable in that. Is it not? Because that's the big thing about change. We feel so much uncomfortable. Is it not? We're not sure. But let's be honest with each other. What in this life is really sure? Safety is an illusion in a certain sense. Surety is also an illusion because everything can change like this. Is it not? And we are constantly actually seeing it, but we are denying it in a certain sense. We keep on fighting against it our whole lives, trying to fight change, even in the body. You know, sometimes we get a little bit older and you start, we experience a lot of people coming here, you know, they have done yoga 20 years ago. Then they come back into class and then suddenly like, hey, I can't do what I have done before. There's something wrong now. And then suddenly they face this big realization, the body has changed. And for them, it's sometimes a very dramatic thing, is it not? So sometimes we can take this and we can duplicate it in different areas or see it in different areas. You haven't seen somebody for years. Suddenly you get into his presence and you realize we're not on the same page anymore. Maybe they're still there, but you moved. And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. We have to get that out. Because what society told us, anything that is not going into the same direction, the stream, following the stream, is wrong. It is bad for society. So we have to throw him over the wall, you know, so that we don't identify with him. He's a threat because, say, more people think like him. What's going to happen? Okay? And isn't that the whole thing, what's going on in this world, is this concepts, ideas that people try to fight for, to protect. And we have to realize, what are we fighting still in our minds that the mind tries to keep alive? That has passed a long time ago. But we cannot let go of it because we feel it's us. This role was me. As soon as we can get to a place where we can teach ourselves to see ourselves differently, the whole experience changes. Now, I talk to a lot of people when certain things happen, and then it is because you're so excited, just to find out most of them think you are crazy or silly. So what did you do? It started to become lonely because I pushed everybody then away. I didn't want to talk with everybody about certain things. So it also gave me the concept of I'm all alone against them, which was also my mind. Because it's not me against them. It's programming that is playing off. And we have to realize that. So it's not that there's bad and good, it's programming. It's not I'm good and they are bad, or now I turn bad according to them and they are good. There's two sides of this thing always. And it depends on where you sit. It's not that. It's to realize the programming of it. Then it's easier to let go of it. Is it not? I hope I don't make it complicated. So, can you lose yourself? Never. Actually, that's what you experience of losing is losing what you are not. Just imagine you lose everything today. What is left? And this is where the biggest fear for most people. What's the biggest fear? That's under people? Humans? Death. What's the second one? Public speaking. That one switch around. They will rather die than speak. Is it not? It's a fear of death. What is the fear of death? Why do people fear death? Because death is seen as losing yourself. The ultimate loss. The loss of everything. Is it not? And we are programmed to see everything that losing. And I'm not saying you must die now. What I'm saying is we must look at life from a different perspective. Then we start to live more simple, with less noise, less things to protect, less things to play according to. And we get more connected with the true self, the real you. And guess what? As soon as you see more of the real of you, you start to see it more also in the people around you. So then that tension also dissolves. Until there's so many things happening at once, then you quickly repent a lot of things and you just want to jump that off. So you cannot lose yourself. You can lose the story, but losing one story gives you opportunity to live another story. Realize that? And maybe the mind is telling you it's not as good as the old. Realize it's the mind. It's not you. You cannot be lonely. The loneliness comes from the mind. That's the same reason why people cannot sit in stillness. They struggle. Have you seen people, if we say we're going to sit for a half an hour in totally stillness, people get Is it not? Have you ever went on holiday and you decide, I'm going to just allow myself to be? Oh, shit, I must send a message. The mind so quickly runs off to other things. It cannot sit just being in nothing. It feels it must continue something. Like I said last week, we hold a lot of things and we don't realize what we hold in the mind. Or is it holding you? Those things are holding you sometimes. But we allow it to have so much control that we can't find peace and quietness. Not realizing you have peace and quietness. And it's all these things that's interrupting it. So letting go of it, you just reset yourself to your natural state, which is peace and calm. I hope it makes sense. And I want to encourage you, it's not the ugly experience to experience losing that story, that identity. In long term, it's much better. In short terms, it feels like you're losing a lot. Long term, you're gaining a lot. You're losing that what you are not. So the more we lose of those things, the more aware we become of who we really are, because that's what's left. And right now, it may not feel like something you want to experience, but let me tell you, it's a beautiful experience. Some of you have experienced that, especially when we do meditation practices. Sometimes, and that's what this 12th week that we're starting this week of Samadhi is all about. Samadhi is going into the state where the ego, the sense of self, disappears. A state from where we can experience life differently. And a lot of us have experienced certain times how we lose awareness of things around us. And I was laughing, Elmarie, when you start this morning, you know, like I remember when I was young, I start, and then we are busy working on a car, and I just like, and I'm totally out. I'm nowhere. I like, Gerhard doesn't exist. And then suddenly my dad will remind you who you are. Okay, he brings you back to earth quickly. Gerhard! You're like, where am I? Have you experienced that thing? That you maybe wake up, sometimes it happens on holidays, you know, when you're out of your known zone, you wake up and you're like, where am I now? How did I get here? And then slowly you start to remember. Now, sometimes that's exactly the experience. Those totally dissolving into nothing, which is not nothing. That's the beauty of it, which is everything. Dissolving into that, where the barriers is gone. To realize and to hold on to that essence and come back with that into your life and to live it. That brings a total different way of life. A freer life. More loving life. Not loving ego, not loving a story, but truly loving life. And I think this is what a lot of people need, is to fall in love once again with life. Is it not? Because our story convinces us we don't know if life is worth it or life, is it good? Is it going to change? But remember, it's a story. Realize that. So I write something here. You never lost yourself. You just got lost in who you thought you were. You never lost yourself. You only got lost in the thoughts of who you think you are.